Hey, it's Marina, travel experta, and today I'm going to talk about Mexican food. Yummy. Are you guys ready to make every day an adventure? So here's a confession. I am not a foodie. I'm not a foodie. There are so many things that I just don't like. I don't like spicy stuff. I don't like onions or mushrooms. There's just all these things, right? I'm just not a foodie. I'm not a very, and plus on top of that, I'm vegetarian. Most of the time, I'm vegan. I will eat cheese, here or there and eggs, but overall, I would say I'm definitely more plant-based. In Mexico, I don't even think the idea of plant-based exists. Everything is meat. Everything is meat. It is a rarity to find something that is not with meat. And of course, a little bit spicy for a Mexican will burn the mouth off of anybody. So for me, finding anything that is not spicy is a challenge in itself. However, I still want to try a lot of the local foods, but I am quite limited because even though I want to try the local foods, the majority of them come spicy. However, we travel this time to Querétaro. Querétaro and the Pueblas Mágicas, the magic villages that surround them, they obviously have foods that come through them, right? That they are more particular to that area. You could get them anywhere in Mexico, obviously, but especially certain areas you find certain foods are more pronounced than others. In this area, I found several that were like extra. One of them is called gorditas. The actual definition of gorditas means little fat one. So gorditas are tortillas that are usually deep fried and they are stuffed with all sorts of stuff, usually all meat based. However, I did find a place, and the cool thing is that you could see what they're doing is that they do serve some things that are vegetarian and very few things that are actually vegan. You could put like mushrooms, or they serve this cactus. It's called nopal. It's a cactus that they cook in some way, and they use it a lot in that area. But I found one that is with frijoles. Frijoles is beans, and it was really tasty. Again, super deep fried. One thing about Mexican food, it is so fatty. It is just fatty, fatty. I honestly don't think that there's very many things that are health wise as far as keeping you trim. Honestly, and I'm not being like mean about it, is the reality. It is a known fact that Mexicans have one of the least rates of heart attacks and heart diseases, but that's because of the picante, because of the chilies, because of the jalapenos, because of the peppers. It's not because of their non-fatty foods. I mean, everything is deep fried, meat and lard, and you name it. So I had a chance to try the gorditas. The other thing that I found, which I was able to eat, is tortas. Tortas are sandwiches. And again, 99% of them all come with meat of some sort, right? Like chicharron, meat. I mean, it's all these different names that I never understood. However, I was able to find a place that you can make with just avocado, tomatoes, lettuce, and beans, and whatever, like little veggie things. And it was really yummy. So the coolest thing about eating these local dishes is that they're cheap. They're so cheap. You don't have to go and spend tons of money on fancy restaurants. That is the beauty of it. And you can find these little tiny, like, little stands. They don't even have to be like the food, like the outdoor vendor foods, but little stands. And there's a bunch of food trucks. The other thing that I have found a lot was elote. Elote is corn. And what they do is they steam the corn. Again, you can find these on the streets. And then they douse it. I mean, like drown it with a mayonnaise and this, I guess, local hard cheese. And everything comes with chili unless you specifically ask for it not to come like that. And of course, quesadillas. You could do quesadillas, and usually it's stuffed with everything under the sun. And the other thing that I really wanted to eat, so I love to go to places knowing little local things that I know that I can enjoy. And obviously there's tacos. Tacos, of course. I mean, Mexico is just known for tacos. Unfortunately, 99% of the taco stands all all are meat based. All are meat. When we got to Mexico City, Roma Norte, the neighborhood that we were staying in, it was just amazing. We found vegan food stands, all taco vegan food. It was just amazing. And it was literally the tacos that are popular at local taco stands, but vegan style. It's just marinated in those specific flavors. And that was just unbelievable. That was probably the best. And the other thing that I really wanted, and I remembered from 20 years ago, was a typical Mexican breakfast that you find in like the local comedores. The comedor is a little cafeteria. So I wanted the beans, the eggs, and the cafe de olla. Cafe de olla is, oh my God, it's so delicious. So what they do is they cook the coffee in like this pot with milk, and the coffee has this like sweetness to it, so it's already sweet, and it's not sugar that they put in. It's this kind of, it's a natural sweetener, obviously comes from the sugar family and the coffee itself, and they cook it with milk, which is usually evaporated milk. So that was something that I really wanted to taste, and all of these things that I wanted to try, and there's so many others that are like local Mexican. We're talking less than $1 or two. You could eat so well in Mexico. And obviously, my palate is very limited. But if you have a robust palate, you can truly enjoy everything you could possibly imagine with Mexican food. So if you're going to be planning to go to Mexico, and look up the areas that you're going to, because each individual area has its specialty. If you go to the coast, it's got all these seafood specialties. If you go to another area, it's got other stuff. And then obviously there's the tacos and the tortillas and the nachos, and those are all over. But really do your homework. Like, no, like the most basic typical ones. And that is where the joy really comes in. So if you want to make every day an adventure, you could do it really cheaply, no matter what part of the world you are, to go and look for those local dishes that truly bring out the flavor of the area. So if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a review and share it with your friends. And if you want to learn more about making every day an adventure, go to travelexperta.com, travel expert with an A.com, and make every day an adventure.